Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to the Tayler Yarish Show. You know what it is at this point. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Where do I start? I've had a rough time. I've just had a rough go. No water at the desk this week. No, we got an old-fashioned. We're going in a little bit heavier. It's needed. Last time I did a morning podcast, this is a night podcast because this is the only time that I could do it. It's late Sunday night. We're going to be late into the night. Oh, man. We had to shift some things around. A lot's happened. I have had one of the worst 24 hours I've had in quite some time. So that's been a lot of fun. Why don't we just start from the beginning? Yesterday, I had a show in Connecticut. Had a show to do in Connecticut. It's a benefit show. I do this show. It seems like it's going to be a once-a-year thing. There's a comedian who passed away a few years ago, and he was a great guy, and he booked us. He booked me and a few other comics on this show once in Connecticut. And he like produced this show in Connecticut, and he was like, you guys, I like you guys. I want you to be on the show. And so we did this show, and then I hadn't seen him in a while, and he passed. And so his wife put together a benefit show and had on those same comedians. Very nice concept, very nice, event, meaningful thing. So we did it last year. We're doing it this year. It was up in Connecticut, in Sherman, Connecticut, which is a nowhere place. I mean, there's literally like a 10-mile stretch where you drive there where there's just no service. People live there, but there's no service. I don't know. It's a lot of people now who escaped New York, and they're probably regretting it. Or maybe not. A lot of fucking old people. A lot of old people, which brings me to the show. The show was, I don't remember it being like this last year, but it was a lot of old people. I mean, and like not like your grandmother who's like still with it and she's, cracking jokes and like she's kind of hip and with, I'm talking like hard of hearing, skin is just no consistent color, just real bad. Like, just you're worried about them. Yeah, didn't hear so well. In a chair. It was tough. And there was maybe 75 people in the room. I had to do 20 minutes. I'm last on the show, which already just holds a lot of expectation. I got introduced as a headliner. Now, it's not the host's fault. I love her. But I when I'm going last, at this stage, I don't really like to be introduced as a headliner because it's such a weighted word. It's such of like, it comes with so much expectation, which I don't really need on a show. You know what I mean? I don't want everyone in the crowd to think, oh, he's the headliner. We now expect him to be better than everybody else we've seen so far. This is the reason I think we're here. It's not even a benefit. This is the guy. They don't know who the fuck I am, but they expect me to be amazing. And not that I don't like a little pressure. I usually do like a little pressure when I'm doing stand-up. But in this instance, I didn't want it because these are not my people. This is not that I have a crowd, but this is not it. If I had one, this is not it. It was a mixture of like, there's a couple young people and then mostly god-awful old people. And I start off okay, and then I went into a slump. I'm bombing. I am not doing good. And I know I'm not doing good, and you probably start to see it on my face. And then it went really downhill. This joke I tell about Amazon, and it starts off just by saying that I've been sitting on my couch ordering a bunch of shit off Amazon. And then a few people, usually are like, woo, they cheer or whatever. And then I point them out. I'm like, hell yeah. And I usually will just be like, yeah, this dude with his dad's credit card or this chick with his dad's credit card. So this girl in the front goes, woo. And I said that. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, man. This girl's got her dad's credit card. And, of course, I pick the one person It was the daughter of the guy who passed away. And I said, this chick with her dad's credit card. And it got weird. The crowd was silent. And there's no way to back that up. There's no way to come out of that. You know? You can't. I was just like, fuck. God damn it. You know what? I'm sorry. You can't even, like, it's so hard to be funny in that moment. Yeah, I'll be honest, I am not experienced with making that kind of mistake. And trying to, like, you know what I mean? Because normally, if I say something like offensive or like just kind of wrong, my instinct is almost to just double down. It's usually to double down so that I don't show any like fear and to, you know, just kind of give into it a little bit. The moment you like apologize, you lose everyone's respect. But in this case, it's like we're at a benefit for him. And it just was not good. So that went horrible. And then I eventually just had to talk about it. I'm like, you guys hate me. This is so uncomfortable. I was like, some of you were with me, and then I lose you 30 seconds later. There was an old woman in the front row who hadn't looked at me the whole show. She hadn't looked at me my entire set. I was up there for 20 minutes. I called her out. I'm like, you've been staring out the window, and it's pitch black out there. There's nothing out there. What are you looking at? And the funny thing was, she didn't even recognize that I was talking about her. That was probably the best my set went. It's probably the most I had him. So that was not good. You know it's not good when you get off and the other comics on the show, they're like not really making eye contact with you. They're looking at you and just, you know, and they kind of just dart away. Nobody says anything. Ugh, it's the worst fucking feeling. 20 minutes of that is I can't imagine bombing for an hour. I just can't. I know it's going to happen, but I just can't. Bombing for 20 minutes already felt like, and it's not like I bombed, but it felt like a bomb because I was fucking working. You know what I mean? When you're crushing, it feels effortless. Like it feels like it's just all happening. But when you're struggling just to get a little bit of something, I mean, I'm sweating up there. I'm working. So I was exhausted. You know, there was a long drive back. I wasn't driving, but I was sitting in the back seat. Thought about it for a long time. And then we get back from Connecticut. We go all the way to Brooklyn. And I had parked my scooter by where the pickup spot was, by my buddy's house or apartment. And I joked, I'm like, let me just see if my scooter's still there. You know, let me just see if it's still there. And I round the corner. I clicked the lock button, and I couldn't hear it. And I round the corner. Ooh, thank God. I see my scooter. As I get closer, I realize someone had stolen my scooter battery. Someone had stolen the scooter battery right out from the console. I didn't even know you could fucking do that. It has a lock on there that I lock with the key. It's like a metal bar that comes down, and I lock it. And I always thought, yeah, that's safe. And I'm like, so how is that possible? It was locked. And then I lock it, and I pull on it, and it just pops right the fuck off. It doesn't work at all. So now my scooter battery is stolen, rendering my scooter useless. It's like 11 something at night. I've worked the next morning. I'm so tired. I texted my buddy who lives down the street, and he lives in an apartment that has a garage, and so he was kind enough to let me pull the scooter into his garage and park it overnight. I was like, thank you so much. I don't have to leave it out on the street overnight, and then it'll probably get stolen. The whole scooter gets stolen, right? So I park it there. And so then I devised this plan about how I'm going to work it all out. So I work the next day at 11. Call my boss. I say, hey, can I come at 11:30? He says, okay. I wake up early in the morning. The scooter shop opens at 9:30. I go there. I get there when they open. I buy a new battery. It's a lot of money. I didn't like doing it, but I'm not going to throw away my scooter because I don't have a battery. So I buy the battery, then take the battery, and I take an Uber from Flushing, Queens, into Brooklyn, into Williamsburg with the battery. I get to my scooter, and I realize that there's an adapter that I need because I bought some special battery that needs an adapter to hook it up to the scooter. Basically, like, you have a male end and a female end of the cord or whatever. Well, they're two female ends. I got a couple of lesbians trying to scissor, and it's not working. I'm not getting any power. So I'm like, fuck, this battery is useless. I got to go to work. But I still have enough time. There's another e-bike store that's down the street. It's like 10-minute bike ride. I'm like, maybe they'll have the adapter that I need. So I leave the battery there. I hop on a city bike. I then ride 10 minutes. And like city bikes, unless it's an e-bike, they fucking suck. You pedal your ass off. You don't go anywhere. So I'm just pouring sweat. I got a backpack on that's filled with all the shit I need for the day. Plus, I bought a new lock to lock around my battery. And it's like one of those, legit kryptonite locks. So it weighs like 20 pounds or whatever. So I'm like doing fucking CrossFit training on this city bike, going to this, e-bike store. I'm pouring sweat, not going anywhere, going up hills. I get there. I take the city bike, I throw it on the kickstand, I park it, I go inside. I'm like trying to talk to the guy. I'm like, hey, the scooter battery got stolen. I bought a new one. I need the adapter. I'm trying to talk to him, and I could see he's not really understanding me. I'm pouring sweat. I look insane, and I'm like, I need the adapter. I need the adapter, and it doesn't go in the thing, and it needs to hook up. And he's like, what do you need? And I could tell, he doesn't speak. Yeah, we don't speak the same language at all. And so I'm trying to like describe. I'm doing like, fucking little hand gestures and stuff. I'm like, it goes in here and it attaches. Do you have the attachie? Do you have the attachie? He's looking at me like I'm insane. Again, pouring sweat. I look insane. And he's like, he pulls this thing out. He's like, is this it? And I think it's it. It doesn't look like the same one I used to have, so I don't fucking know. And now I'm so delirious. I'm like dehydrated. I didn't get a lot of sleep, and I can't remember if my situation was I had two female ends or two male ends. So he's like, which one do you need? And I don't fucking know. So I just take a guess. I'm like, give me this one. And he hands it to me. And then I realize afterwards that when I originally bought the battery the first time, in order to hook up the adapter, you have to do like fucking electrical work. You have to like, cut the wires and twist the shit together, like MacGyver and create an electrical current. And I don't know how to fucking do that, and I'm not going to learn in the 15 minutes I have before I have to somehow get to work in downtown Brooklyn. So now I'm just freaking out. I don't know what the fuck to do. I call my buddy. I say, hey, I don't think this is going to work. I don't think it's going to work. I'm going to have to leave it at your place overnight. I'm sorry. I got to Uber to work right now. I'm going to be late. So I just say, fuck it. I'll be back tomorrow. I order an Uber. I get in an Uber. I go to work. I make it to work on time, miraculously. I'm at work for like 3-4 hours, and I get an alert on my phone from the City Bike app that says, hey, are you still riding? I never docked the fucking City Bike. The City Bike, I just left it with a kickstand up on the sidewalk, just running. The clock is just fucking running. I look at my City Bike app. We're like 5 hours in. It thinks I've been riding the bike for 5 hours. Now, the app tracks the location of your phone, so I don't know where the bike is. I don't know if it's there. I don't know if somebody took it as soon as they saw me get into an Uber and now they're joyriding on my dime. I have no fucking idea. But I have work, and I'm at work for another 4.5 hours. And this thing is just, not only is the time going up, but the money is going up. The charge is going up. And I'm just, it's like that Union Square clock that's just rolling, except that's money out of my pocket. I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. I don't know if, what, God damn it. I don't know what's going to happen. Then I Google and I figure out that if a bike goes missing and it's been 24 hours, they just charge you for the cost of the bike, which is $1,200, which is outrageous. $1,200. That's what they're going to cost me. So I'm losing my mind at work. So finally, time rolls around. I get off of work. And I go and I open my Revel app, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's like an electric Vespa type thing, ride sharing app. You just, you can ride a little Vespa. So I open up my app and I realize my account for the Revel is suspended because they caught me running red lights on the red light camera because I live life to the fullest. So they suspended my account, so I had to retake the safety exam or whatever, which takes another fucking 10 minutes. And if you get one question wrong, you got to redo the whole thing, but I didn't. So I take the safety test. And then I go find a Revel. I Revel all the way back to the shop. It takes me like 15 minutes. I get there, and by the grace of fucking God, this city bike is sitting there, parked, with the kickstand out, right where I left it, all goddamn day. How the hell is a city bike not stolen when it's sitting out in the open all day, yet my e-bike that was chained and parked in between two cars gets robbed within 4 hours? I mean, what the fuck? Explain that. I don't know. I don't know. It was horrible. So obviously, I call City Bike, right? I call City Bike and I'm like, hey, I rented a City Bike and then someone stole it from me. I didn't know how much I was going to have to ham this up. I thought I was going to be like, hey, I was robbed at gunpoint and they took the bike. What do you want me to do? I'm not paying for this bike. I took the bike out of the dock and then someone held me up at gunpoint. They pistol whipped me and then they took the bike. What do I do? And the woman's like, okay, well, what we can do, we can wait and maybe the bike will get redocked in the station and then we'll remove the charge from the account. Like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that's going to happen. The thief is going to take the bike. He's going to take the bike from me and then ride around, and then he's going to come to his senses. He's going to have a stroke of conscience, and then he's going to return the bike back into the station. That's going to happen. Dude, some people just steal city bikes. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen somebody that just like has a city bike? Like a city bike, it's supposed to like blink. Like the backlight blinks when you're riding it, like when it's in use. And there's bikes out there, like city bikes, that are just dead. They're like lost soul city bikes. They have no soul. There's no lights on them. And I don't know how this happened, but people just have these fucking bikes. I saw a dude in my neighborhood on my block. He was like coming out of his apartment. He was taking a city bike out of his fucking apartment. I'm like, where did you get that? How do you, like, do you have to rob somebody to do that? Because you know what I mean? You can't like take one out on your account and then not, unless he did what I did and then he got charged for a city bike and he was like, fuck it. If I'm getting charged, I'm just going to keep the city bike. You know? I don't know. I can't believe it was there. I was so shocked. I was so fucking shocked. Like, I guess I'm glad my day didn't end on a down note. It was pretty downhill from last night, and I guess that's the one silver lining. And religious people would probably look for a message, and they're like, well, you know, God tests us. This is God testing you. God is testing you, and you pass the test. You know what? Fuck your tests. How about that? How about I don't need your tests? How about I choose? I'm not in school anymore. Okay, there? Jesus, I'll choose when I want to test myself. I choose. Okay? I don't need you to fuck up my whole day because you feel like giving a pop quiz. You fucking narcissist. You know what I mean? You're being tested. Jesus is testing you. He's testing you. Well, can he stop? Can he not? Because it's annoying. It's ruining my plans. I have plans. I was supposed to go to a brunch, and now I can't because God decided to test me. Ooh, it's time for your test. It's time for your test where you're going to drive many hours, have a shitty show, and then come back, and then you were robbed, and you have to jump around town and buy things for hundreds of dollars, and then it doesn't work out, and then you barely make it to work, and you have anxiety all day, and then, oh, but you passed the test. You passed the test. Congrats. Congrats on passing the test. Oh, what do you get? Jack shit. What do you get? You get to know in your heart that you passed. You passed. That's all you get. It's horseshit. That's what I think. I think if Jesus is out there, he's a real mean guy. He's the teacher you don't want to get. You know when you're picking your classes in high school and everybody knows who the cool teacher is? It's Mr. Spears. Mr. Spears is the cool teacher. He's the one, who like teaches history and he tries to make it cool. And he's got like a Jay-Z album cover on his wall or something in the classroom. And you're like, whoa, that's so cool. They let you have that? That's so cool. And he wears like funky ties. And he's balding a little bit, but he doesn't, he doesn't care because he's cool. He's Mr. Spears. He's Mr. Spears. And he's like, yo, Napoleon, man, he was this guy. He just took over everything, man. And he like makes history cool and he makes you like want to learn. You're like, you know what? For this history lesson, all right, here's your assignment. I want you to make a rap about history. You got to make a rap about a leader in the, European blah, 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 blah. And then that's the fucking assignment. That's that teacher who's like, you know what? Last 5 minutes, let's just chit chat. That's that fucking teacher. And then you have a teacher like Jesus who's like by the book, wears the same kind of outfit, that like, TJ Maxx kind of button-down shirt that doesn't really fit that well, and a tie that's like way too wide, and it goes like 4 inches over the belt line, which drives me fucking bananas. And it's like really hot in his room for some reason. It's really hot in there. And you walk in and like you sit down in your seat that you didn't get to pick. You didn't get to pick your seat. And then he just decides, he's going to have a pop quiz. He decides because it's posted up on the wall from the projector that's 8 years old that he refuses to update, even though the school has had the funds to, get the new equipment in, but he likes the way the old projector works because he knows the technology and he doesn't want to learn a new technology because he's been using this one for the past 25 years because he's been teaching there. And, he's stuck in his ways and he has no ambition and no reason to change. And he decides he's going to give you a pop quiz. He's going to test you. He's going to test you. But he doesn't realize that all your other, you've had like 7 other tests that day. He doesn't need, and it's not even like he needs to test you. We don't need it. We just took a midterm. Why do we need a test? A pop quiz of all things. And he's like, well, I just want to see if you're retaining the information. And you're like, come on, man. Be more like Mr. Spears. Don't be a fucking asshole. You dumb cuck, That's Jesus as a teacher, I think. I'm paraphrasing. I'm drinking a little bit. It's fine. So yeah, it was a rough 24 hours. That was a long story, but now you understand. Now you understand the old-fashioned instead of the water. But here's some positive news. The positive news is that me and my buddy Ted Barton are starting a comedy show. We are producing a comedy show together. right here in the Big Apple, the big ol' NYC. You thought New York City was dead? Ha ha ha. Nope, because we're starting a comedy show. It's going to be fun. We were thinking about doing this for a very long time, and like most things, we just fucking procrastinated because either we didn't want to do it that much at that time, or maybe we were scared and something was stopping us. I don't know. It is kind of scary. It's scary to produce a show. It's scary to be in charge of something that's like bigger than you. And yes, it's just a stupid bar show and no one really cares. But we both have this crushing need to not disappoint people. And so the idea that we would produce something that, its success hinges on how well we can do a thing, and then that will have an impact on how we're seen in our community and how people think about us. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot that I'm not used to. I'm not used to that kind of responsibility, but it's going to be a good fucking time. I can feel it. If you're in New York City, you should come out. I think it's going to be a great show. I'm biased because I chose the lineup with Ted. We chose the lineup together, but it's going to be a good fucking time. We got some good comedians on the show. We have Mark Normand. If you don't know Mark Normand, you should. He's a very good comedian. He's done a bunch of shit. He's been on every fucking late night possible. He's got some specials out. He's been on Rogan like 4 times. Really good comedian. He's going to be on the show. I got some friends of mine. My friend Jason Choi. My friend Mia Faith Hammond. My friend Mark Benjamin. Jordan Jensen, who's very funny. We got some good people. It's going to be a good time. It's at this bar called Tara Rose. It's on 28th and 3rd Street, I believe. First show is going to be August 11th at 7:30. Doors at 7 p.m. Tickets are $10. It's $10. If you can't afford that, just DM me and I'll get you in there for free. We just want to get people in there. We just want to do comedy that's in front of people who like comedy and not 80-year-old people who probably fought in Korea, and now they decided to come out to a JCC and drink coffee at 7:30 at night because they can still do that at their age for some reason. We're trying to do less of that. We're trying to do comedy for people who want to see comedy. You got to create your own thing. That's what I came out of this pandemic with. Even though we came out and I didn't do it for a very long time, but that's the takeaway. You got to do your own fucking thing. So we're starting a show. That's the plug this week. Is August 11th is our first show. We have great comics, and then it'll be every other Wednesday. Every other Wednesday. Second week we already have Jessica Kierson, Caitlin Palufo on. Rest of the lineup is TBD, but it's going to be a good time. So if you can come and support, that'd be great. If you're just, if you're a comedian and then you want to come and watch, let me know. And you can come by and support. I want people there. I want this to be a good thing. I want it to be fun. I want the comedians that we book to have a good time. I feel like a lot of people don't think about that. They think about, I want the audience to have a good time and I want people to come because I want to be seen as someone who has a good show. But I also want the comedians that I book to have a good time. That is a lot of it. A lot of comedy is just spending time with other comedians, Like the show last night, I did comedy for 20 minutes, but the majority of the night was just hanging out with the other comedians. It's almost the best part. So I want to do a show where people want to do the show because it's a fun show. Because that hang is good. I'm trying to think maybe I'll have I want to have the little things. You know what I mean? The little things that people take away and they're like, man, that's a nice touch. You know what I mean? I work in the fucking hospitality industry. I have my whole life. And I feel like if I can't take a little bit of something from that and throw it into my show, well, then what the fuck was it all for? What was the point of having a job all those years? It could be something so little as like having waters there for all the comedians. You know, maybe I have like a little bowl of candy or just something, one little takeaway where people are like, you know what, that was not bad. Even if the crowd wasn't that big, it was a little light, they could be like, you know what, that was well run. That was nice. I like that. That's all I want. So you know what? The plug this week is not going to be like, share, subscribe, follow all the things. It's not going to be that this week. It's not going to be to follow me on the Instagram and tell other people to follow me on the Instagram and subscribe to the YouTube. That's not going to be the plug. The plug is going to be to come to the show. If you go to my Instagram, or I didn't even say the name of the fucking show. It's Yarbar Comedy. Why is it called that silly name? Because everybody calls me by my last name. They say, hey, yo, Yarish, even though that's not how you pronounce it. Everyone says Yarish. And then my buddy Ted's last name is Barton. And I was walking down the street. I got to give full credit. Matt Hardy. Shout out to Matt Hardy. He was like, Yarish, Barton, Yarbar. He just said that. He just said Yarbar. And I just laughed hysterically. And we had pitched some like names for our show previously. And when he said Yarbar, we both just looked at each other and we were like, that's the fucking name. It's Yarbar. So, you know, it stuck. So the plug this week is to go to my Instagram or to go to Yarbar Comedy Show. I forget what the Instagram is. And just click on the link in the bio and come. Buy a ticket. Or DM me and be like, yo, what's the promo code for the free or half off ticket? And I'll give you that. I just want people there. It's not about money. This thing is not about making money, I promise you. The venue's making us charge people one drink. That's what we're going to do. But you know what? You should come and get a drink anyway. You'll have a better time. But if you want to come, let me know. I would really appreciate it. I would really like people to come to this thing consistently. I want it to be a fun thing. It's not that late, you know, 7:30 on a Wednesday. It's doable, you know? So that's it. That's the podcast. That's the podcast this week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And please come out to my show. I'm real nervous that no one will come. So that's it. Have a good week. See you next week. Peace out.